listening to the Chartographers.
Get out your $1 million bills, because it is the Chartographers, a music-loving podcast, music-loving people, worst to first. You know those things that I've always said the entire time the podcast has been active. And guys, listen, we surprisingly have a part 2 to our Whitney Houston journey. We were not expecting it.
It's only 8 albums.
It's only 8 albums, but here's the thing. When you get Evan Taran, Taran O'Reilly, and special guest and beloved friend and wonderful sex god the world over, Nick Shoda, in studio. And Nick Shoda has and multiple Charties nominee. Nick Shoda. In studio, this is going to happen. We get a lot of knowledge. We get a lot of backstory. We get a lot of things. And there was a surprising, deep discussion about Whitney. Taran, I think, surprised himself most of all.
I really didn't think I had that much to say.
I know.
Honestly, I was worried I didn't have enough to say, and then clearly I had opinions.
Yeah, then it became like, no, you're wrong, and it's a whole thing. So, listen to part 1. And also, here's the other thing, though. Although we're ranking her albums from worst to first, the thing is that her albums, we're only talking about the remaining ones. All the 5 albums that we talked about in the last episode, and I really highly recommend you listen to our last episode. We're not going to talk about them here. So whatever they are, they're going to be lost to time unless you listen to the first episode in which we talk about them robustly. But when it comes to ranking of Whitney Houston's best albums, we have 3 left. 3 standing contenders. And I think some people may have seen it that way. I'm still kind of surprised by it. But what we have remaining is Whitney Houston, the debut album from 1985. Whitney, the sophomore album from 1987, and her first ever soundtrack album, The Bodyguard, from 1992. We got 3 spots, and we're going to rank them 3-1. So, listen, we've had a whirlwind of a discussion. I feel very much at ease with these picks. I feel very, there's a sense of serenity that surrounds me right now.
It's a little obvious.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, is it, though? I don't know.
It would have been my choice, but, it's fine.
Exactly. Well,
and it also would not have been Nick Shoda's choice,
it wouldn't have been
as we've heard.
But, it's okay.
But we're at peace with this. We're at peace with
He would have put Preacher's Wife at number 1, so...
Hey, don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say that. I didn't say that in the last episode. Right, so, I'm just fighting. I'm fighting for my Whitney. I'm fighting for her.
Exactly. So, Nick Shoda, dear friend, multiple Charty nominee. Will you get nominations for this episode? I don't know.
I better hope. I hope so. Let's find a way to get me some nominations. No, I need to win. Which, by the way, I wanted to say it truly was an honor to be nominated. I was delighted. I listened to that episode. I was like, oh. I just giggled. I giggled all through at everyone else, and I'm not gonna lie, a little bit at myself. So, hashtag narcissism. Hashtag All Stars 3.
Look, you don't need to be ashamed of that. There are whole categories devoted to each of us.
Yeah.
Which we're absolutely laughing at ourselves.
Exactly. So, and for the record, it's not laughing with ourselves, it's laughing at ourselves. I'm a fucking idiot.
I'm laughing at past Taran.
Yeah. So, because current Taran, he's always the smartest. He's always the best. You learn from the best. You learn from me. So, guys, listen. Number 3, we're down to our top 3. And it's just out there. Between the 3 albums, Nick Shoda, we're just going to talk about it, not going to necessarily lock anything in place. Nick Shoda, what would you nominate for number 3?
For number 3?
Uh-huh.
Assuming we are approaching The Bodyguard as an EP.
We are.
We are.
Yeah, we are.
I would put Whitney Houston at number 3.
For the very first album?
The first album.
Okay.
Number 3.
Okay. Give us a little bit of the context as to why. She's, I believe, 21 when this came out?
Yes, that's correct.
Because she was, doing TV appearances and things like that beforehand, but that's when she was, 19, 20, that kind of thing. So this is her first proper album.
So, the debut album is interesting because it was such a massive success and because of the way that it set up the rest of her career.
Mm-hmm.
I think that...
Set the template.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think that there are... Let's see, 4 truly, best of her career, some favorite songs on that album, and the rest of it...
Are they all the singles?
No.
Oh.
I should take that back. There are 3 best of her career, like, favorites, those are singles, and one that I really, really like. That I think is really interesting.
What's the one you really, really like?
The one that I really, really like is Thinking About You. It's...
We'll get there.
Yeah, and we'll dive into that. And the rest of it, honestly, is kind of filler. This is an unpopular opinion.
Okay,
God,
get ready.
Whitney, I love you. God rest your
He's
soul.
doing the cross fingers.
I hate The Greatest Love of All.
What?
I'm so shocked.
I'm shocked.
I'm sorry.
shocked.
Excuse me, I have to correct myself. I hate Greatest Love. Is it greatest or the greatest?
I mean, I pulled this off of Wikipedia, which is accurate, so it's greatest.
Very specifically, the original was The Greatest Love of All,
Sure.
and her version is Greatest Love of All.
So wait, you don't believe... Wait, Shoda, are you saying that you don't believe the children are our future? You won't teach them well and let them lead?
Not if I have to lead them over a Casio keyboard.
That was almost a joke.
Listen, no, all of which is... I Thank you, Taran. Thank you.
Here's the thing. I just want to bring one thing out, and especially it's true with this, especially early era Whitney. She is a schmaltz peddler. She is. That's the thing. And the thing is that, like, I think genuinely, if we're just being truthful right now, I think going into this week, especially, like, the first couple days, Tara and I were kind of, like, a little bit aghast at just how...
Just so much schmaltz.
There is so much schmaltz.
Oh my
It's
God.
a lot. Like, and
because her lasting legacy is her dance hits.
And
Like,
I will always love you.
regardless of what went number one.
I almost thought you were going to say her dancing, and I was like, oh.
No.
Ooh, she's got a moonwalk by actually walking backwards.
We've seen her dancing, and that is not her legacy.
Fringe.
No,
But we love what she did, or I love what she did.
But the ballads, even if they, I mean, some of them outsold the big dance hits from each album, but what's lasted are the up-tempo songs, except for Greatest Love of All.
And I Will Always Love You.
And I Will Always Love You.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, I will give you that, because Greatest Love of All is fucking cheesy. It is.
Except for when she gets to the Defiant part.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I decided long ago.
I
mean, that's the best part of the
exactly.
song.
And, like, we have to get through this valley of schmaltz in order to get to this part. Because, like, as an empowerment anthem, she fucking kills it. With that voice, especially, she can sell it. But there's another revelation that we had this week, which was we were watching... I mean, the thing is, we're listening to these albums here, and then, by complete random happenstance, I brought up a clip of a TV show she was on where she performed You Give Good Love.
The
one we're talking
Johnny
about.
Carson show performance.
Yes.
Sorry.
And the thing,
I mean, that is the correct... Oh my God, the last, like, minute of that song, I was full on getting hype.
Yeah.
I was like a fucking gorilla, like, crab walking from side to side. I was like, oh, fuck! Like, I, like, stood up out of my chair and started jumping. Like, that's how much it was blowing me away.
Her voice, her control, the fact that it's not the fact that she can hit the notes, because Mariah Carey can hit the notes, and fuck her, and I know you love her, Nick, but seriously, fuck her. But, like, legitimately, it's not the fact that she can hit the notes, it's the fact the ease, the control, and the gorgeous way she just rolls them out.
It's so effortless. And, like, as someone who has had some vocal lessons, I know what to look for, and I just, like, she's hitting every goddamn mark. She's fully supporting. Her vowels are beautiful and open, and, like, it's absolutely stunning. And that's as that performance was ending and the audience was clapping and, like, the next video was loading up, I was like, not a single one of her studio recordings does her justice. I'm so
glad you said this.
And I'm so happy. And honestly, that was the hard part about this week, was when you just sit down and you're listening to these albums, you're like, oh, there's so much schmaltz, there's so many ballads, and then when you watch her sing them live, you're like, oh,
there's the
this
performance.
is the artist.
That's what people remember.
There is the artist.
Yeah.
This is why she's massive. You Give Good Love.
She's like Fish.
Shut up. Like, I want to
Better live.
delete the album version and just download a version, like, a track of that performance, because, like, it is just so far and away. And at the end of that performance, when she's just like, up in
hovering.
her high register and she's quiet as fuck and just giving those harmonies and you're like, oh, and the tone, like, I'll say this a couple times. Well, and that's actually another good point to make about this album while we're talking about it, is that her tone is so impeccable and her timbre is so impeccable. The natural quality of her voice is I mean, there's that is the reason she's the best vocalist of the pop era.
Yeah.
And like, it's so hard because then you have all these other songs on here where she's duetting with these dudes and they
Mainly
just...
Jermaine Jackson.
Well, but even Teddy Pendergrass...
Oh, fuck that Teddy Pendergrass song, by
It's
the way,
creepy.
for the record. It is.
But...
Listen, I know she's 21, so she's legal, but he's fucking 37. Hold me. Like, it's just like this, like, almost, like, way too sexual, like, it's one of those things where, like, technically, I have no reason to feel uncomfortable, but when I listen to it, I still feel uncomfortable.
Can I make you feel a little bit more uncomfortable
Oh,
about
God.
that?
Do I want to know?
Please.
So,
We're nothing but awkward here.
on the tour supporting the album, she had her brother Gary as one of her background singers, and Gary sang all the male parts.
No!
On the duets.
Oh!
No.
Do it to me one more time. Once
okay.
never. No.
So, and there's one...
With a
there's
brother like you.
What? No. Evan Saudi. No. There's one recording where... So she goes through, she introduces all of everyone in her band and her background singers and everyone. And she's like, oh yeah, like this guy over here. You like him? And they're like, the audience is like, yeah. And she and she's like, yeah, well, I love him. But check this out. He's my brother. And I'm like, oh, that's weird.
That's fucking weird.
That's an
Yeah.
I don't
odd way to
feel...
introduce
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So that
anyway.
being said,
No. What I was saying was, though, that it's because her vocal timbre is so perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Everyone that she duets with maybe the single exception of Stevie Wonder, just can't stack up. And even if they're fine singers, like, almost all of them don't have the technique, even kind of. But then just in general, their timbre doesn't blend with her. And it's actually a problem I have across her career with when I can tell she's not doing the harmony vocals, which she does a lot. And when she's doing the harmony vocals, a cappella, How Will I Know, it's incredible. But when she's not, it's really obvious. It's sort of distracting almost. And I mean... I would not put this album specifically next. Again, not gonna fight too hard, but I will say against it that all three of the duets on here are rough because of the guest artist.
But
Yeah.
that being said, like, honestly, this was the first Whitney Houston album that I bought, primarily on the strength of How Will I Know. And that's because when it comes to just joint, effervescent, upbeat dance pop songs about falling in love, which I definitely was whenever I first heard it there, oh, man, baby. Like, it's one of the things, like, I feel like, and this might be the truth for a lot of different listeners, though, you know, I don't think this is going to get the most plays out of anything in our discography, simply because a lot of people still, as you pointed out during our Janet episode, Whitney is a singles artist. People outside of maybe the Bodyguard soundtrack don't really think of Whitney as an albums artist. I'm glad we're diving into the albums because there's a lot of takeaways here. But that's the biggest thing. We're like, you know, there's these stray singles where it's just like, oh my god, I didn't know she was even capable of that. So that's why, like, each album is a statement unto itself, which says, and everyone for the most part says something different. So Whitney Houston, the album, I would agree, is inconsistent. I would also say that Whitney is also pretty inconsistent itself, but maybe for
Absolutely.
different reasons.
Sure.
And so when I was diving into it, like, I feel like, and that was the thing about Research Week, when the first day of Research Week, when we were listening to the Whitney albums, I'm just like, fuck, man. Like, it's just like, you have to get through the schmaltz. Like, we have an episode coming up later in the season where we talk about Bjork, and that's one where I'm excited about because we're gonna have to, like, you get into it, but this is...
I am apprehensive.
You know, but, like, legitimately, though, it's the same thing here, where, like, at the start of the week, I'm just like, fuck these ballads, there's way too many ballads, there's 800 ballads.
But then once you have listened to
Once
the
you
ballads
speak that
a couple
language,
times,
right.
you're like, you can distinguish them more. There are some ballads where the melody and the vocal performance really elevate it, where you're like, yes, I love this. And then, of course, there's a lot of filler.
So no, and the thing is that like, so it's one of the things I have an affinity for Whitney Houston, but I'm curious, Taran, what would you have nominated for number 3?
Well, can I finish talking about this album first?
Certainly can.
I was just gonna say, a song that is sort of a victim of its production is "Thinking About You." I really like that song.
I do.
I really, really like that song, and I like it specifically in comparison when I've listened to the rest of her discography, and I'm like, oh, this is actually really fun and great. It's just kind of mired in this like muddy,
like synth tone, yeah.
It's like
mistake.
It's legitimately like nothing else she's ever done.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is really interesting coming
out of her debut.
Well, coming out of her debut and coming right off of You Give Good Love, which in a lot of ways, which is a song that it's one of the 3 that I truly, truly love so much. Like, even the album version...
What are the other 2?
Saving All My Love For You and How Will I Know.
Yeah.
I just, like, those songs are
like, and that's a weird thing. Saving All My Love For You, that's Schmaltz done right. Like,
absolutely,
just,
yes.
Know, like, so the thing is, I don't even know what the differentiating line is between this is too cheesy versus you're selling it.
Well, and that's another one where, like, I was fine with it, and then I watched, I think you sent me that Letterman performance. And I was like, oh, this is where this song is. Because that's actually one where I'm like, I think they should have used a different vocal take.
Yep.
There's some flat brashness on the chorus a couple times on that one. But then on that performance, she nails every single second. And I'm like, great. Again, that's one where I want to download the audio of that performance and just listen to that.
Even going into this week, Shoda's just like, by the way, like, because he's like giving us research tips. He recommended that Showtime documentary. He recommended a couple other different resources for us to look up. Because again, like, we're diving into it for Research Week. He's been doing this his whole life. We will defer respect. We'll defer respect to him on everything except the rankings. But the biggest thing though is that he then at one point is like, "Do you guys want any bootlegs? I know some great ones." And Taran had the same reaction I did at first. I'm like, "Shut! I don't." What the fuck are you talking about? Bootlegs? Do we need bootlegs?
I'm here to tell you, you didn't know that you needed them, but you do.
What he meant by bootleg was her best live performances,
because
which
her
we didn't
live
quite connect.
Yeah.
Like
there are also like full concerts on YouTube, which I highly recommend because there's just. Every one is a little bit different. Every rendition that she
And now, The Bodyguard came out in 1992, and I think you were even saying that, and because it's true for the rest of her discography, Save the Preacher's Life, but, like, the vocal quality does start failing, because, like, she powered that incredible voice through so much. Would you say, like, 94, 96, something around that time is when her vocal quality started to drop off, or...?
Well, it's interesting to compare... Waiting to Exhale to The Preacher's Wife because you really hear specifically on Why Does It Hurt So Bad, which is another one of my favorite Whitney songs that feels very lived in. You hear a voice that has gone through some wear and tear, whereas when you get to The Preacher's Wife, I feel like her voice is really in great shape. And
she's also at home too,
right?
So,
but definitely. I mean, even compared to like some of the performances we watched from like 95, 96, like on the recording of The Preacher's Wife, she sounds, as much as I don't necessarily have use for that entire album as a whole, her vocals are still impeccable.
Yeah. I think that when you start to really hear the deterioration come in is on the My Love Is Your Love album. But even there, and listening to it again, it was more apparent to me than it had been in the past.
Well, she doesn't have to try as hard on My Love Is Your Love, honestly. It's a different style of song.
Sure. But you still hear... I wonder what would have happened if there hadn't been that deterioration, if the keys had been different, you know, what that album would have looked like if that had not been the case. Because Anyway.
So, that being said, as I mentioned before, like, so you put that as your number 3. What would you put?
I would put Whitney.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
And as far as like lead singles are concerned, I love I Want to Dance with Somebody, and I think, especially since we know that it was the same songwriter as How Will I Know?
Which I love, and
it was honestly...
Hey, can you do that magic again? Fuck yeah,
it was an improvement on the formula.
thank you.
You know,
Walt.
I agree.
Like, it was incredible. And I
agree.
also think that Just the Lonely Talking Again is one of the best ballads she has ever done.
Yes, I'm so glad you agree about this. I was worried that you wouldn't.
That was
but-
one that like stuck out right away, and it's also one where, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm like 95% sure she's doing all the harmony vocals on that,
I'm sure she.
and it's so good. Oh my god, you hear all the high harmonies and just like when the really ready for love. And it's, just like. It just gets me right in my fucking chest.
It's just
like
drizzle it over pancakes.
and then,
It's so good.
You know,
Love is
Oh.
a contact sport.
who fucking knows what that song is? I mean, that song is confused about its existence.
And
That's
its metaphor.
That's definitely one where they're like, you're an 80s pop star.
Yeah.
Let's give you this fucking nothing bullshit of a little pop song. But let's not skip over So Emotional.
Okay,
Another one of my, like, definitely favorite
Yes.
Whitney Houston songs
Yes.
of all time.
But it's weird, though,
Absolutely.
because when I was listening to it, especially in the context of this week, and I chatted Shoda, and I still feel it's true, it's like, man, So Emotional is so good, and I don't care about the verses. Like, the verses are just this kind of like,
I like
they're
them.
there, they're fine, but then
I
that
wouldn't be
fucking
that harsh
chorus
on
hits,
them.
that chord change on the fucking chorus just is like life. It's like it just gives you,
Well,
it defines the song.
It's funny that you say that because we sort of skipped it, but I feel the same way about Someone for Me off of Whitney Houston, but the opposite.
The
I
verses.
think that the verses and the pre-chorus are amazing,
Abs-
and then
yes.
they just like kind of
Yes.
forgot to write a chorus.
Absolutely.
They're just, and then it's just backing vocals doing this like Someone for Me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? No, this should have been an explosion of emotion and incredible vocal prowess. What is this chorus?
So, just to backtrack a little bit. So, How Will I Know was originally written for Janet, which I think is hilarious in retrospect, because
It would not have been
Can-
as good.
can-
I
you
feel
imagine-
there are more songs on I Am Your Baby Tonight that sound like they were Janet Ray.
well, can we just imagine for a minute? By the way, my kingdom for the original demo of How Will I Know that was for Janet. Like I just exactly. It's like. No. Like that, like that's all it would have been. And I love Janet. Like, but Someone for Me totally sounds like a Janet song. Like, you can totally hear Janet being like, Someone for Me, you know, like that whole thing.
Yes,
Anyway,
except
but-
she wouldn't have given us that Someone for.
Oh yeah,
And
of
like
course.
that's I think that's what makes me so angry about it is because that's like she blows that single line out of the water and it's supposed to be a prelude for an amazing chorus and it just doesn't deliver.
It's totally the He Doesn't Even Know That I'm Alive from Janet's Control
Yes!
album of the Whitney Houston album, which I didn't make the connection to until just now.
And it doesn't pass the Bechdel test either.
Right, for sure.
Hashtag All Stars
Okay,
3.
but back to Whitney.
Yes, sorry.
So I've talked about I Want to Dance with Somebody, Just the Lonely Talking Again,
And your
and
favorite,
So
Where Do Broken Hearts
Emotional.
Go?
And that's literally all I have time for on this record. The rest of it is like pretty boring, late 80s.
Like,
There's a
the
lot
thing
of,
is, I don't hate as many of the songs.
I don't hate them, but
It's
they
just
they're
they're
not
there.
they're not distinct.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's more distinct moments on Whitney Houston. And so like I can't even tell you what Where You Are sounds like. And I know that I listened to
Oh, Where You Are?
I
Oh,
listened
yeah.
to it-
Fuck that song.
I
Hold on.
listened- I listened
Wait.
to that one like more times than some of the rest of them, trying to get it into my brain and just couldn't. And that's like, and obviously Love Is a Contact Sport is on here. You're Still My Man is like, For the Love of You is, Where Do Broken Hearts Go is one of my least favorite songs for sure. And so it's just like, there's just this like slog on the second half of Whitney.
Okay, let me tell you what Where You Are is about, since you clearly don't forget. Here's the thing. She is by herself, and she happens to see her famous beau in the TV and in the newspapers, and instead of lying about all bad, being like, oh my god, where is she just takes her fucking credit card out, gets a flight, and goes to him, and all is solved. And that's the fucking song. Where's the conflict? Where's the drama? I don't fucking know, but she happened to open up her paper and see a photo of him there. Oh my god, fuck that song. That is just like, how fucking high-end, high society bullshit of a song. Like, oh my god, I miss him, so I went to him. Fuck you. You know, like, that's the thing.
Also, I'm gonna have a quick Prince of Egypt moment on this record too. I grew up on chess, so I know him so well, really well, and I cannot fucking listen to Sissy Houston sing it.
Because she's not a pop vocalist, and the thing is, she is actually, I would say that Sissy Houston is talented, she is not a pop vocalist. And the thing is, I don't even necessarily hate her performance on there, it is just ill-fitting.
I actually enjoyed her performance on The Preacher's Wife more than I did on this album.
Because that's her
wheelhouse.
Right, that's her wheelhouse, totally. Yeah. And so it fit her vocal style, whereas this was just incorrect.
Yeah.
Shoda.
So here's my response to that.
That bullshit.
First of all, I get where you're coming from. I think in looking at the two of these albums back to back, it's such obvious like 80s crass capitalism in a way, because it takes one thing that was super successful, chops off half the title, basically repeats most of the formula, and puts it out for the masses, right? Down to, I Want to Dance with Somebody basically being How Will I Know Part 2. That being said,
none wrong with that.
I think that what made people shit on the Whitney album, and people were not here for Whitney. Okay. They were not. Because
it's 1 million less than the last one.
This is the one that got booed at...
Oh,
right. So this was the record that alienated a lot of people.
So what happened with the debut was that the expectations were so high that the repeating of the formula basically backfired. So all of these people...
It's the bad to her fucking Thriller.
Right, yeah, to an extent, because the album, the Whitney Houston album, established this vocalist with such incredible promise. People acknowledged that, so there were some schmaltzy moments on the debut, but there's clearly a vocalist who we should be focused on and interested in because her voice is incredible, obviously. So then Whitney comes out and repeats the same formula, and everyone reacts to it in this way that's like, man, we have this debut that was such a huge thing. It broke all these records, blah, blah, blah. And now we're just repeating that same thing and not advancing in any real way. However, I would argue that if the Whitney album were the debut, it would have had a similar amount of praise. Because everything that we loved about the debut is in the Whitney album, except she sounds more confident. I think that her voice sounds more focused. I think that even though, sure, there's the schmaltz there, we lose the ballads. She doesn't have to sell herself anymore. Or she doesn't have to sell herself quite as in the same way that she did before. Mm-hmm. So you don't have... To backtrack, there is no need for Jermaine Jackson to make 2 appearances on the Whitney Houston album.
You're correct.
Also,
I hate it.
Also, Whitney Houston did no fewer than 4 duets with Jermaine Jackson in the 80s. And also, the best of these does not appear on any of her albums except for her greatest hits. And it's called If You Say My Eyes Are Beautiful. It's still kind of corny, but that's a situation where, of course, Whitney is singing way better than Jermaine Jackson, but the melody of it all kind of comes together in a nice way. If that song had been on Whitney Houston, this would have been a different conversation. But instead you have these kind of 2 mid-tempo songs that are basically, they just feel the same to me, in a way, or a ballad and a mid-tempo. Whereas
that's not a Jermaine Jackson song.
With Whitney, I think that you hear an evolution of a voice that is coming into her own. It's not perfect. I also am totally here for...
Yes. Don't you dare.
I like Where You Are.
No!
I am also here for the Love of You. And here's why. Because I love the songs that give us more understated Whitney, especially in contrast to the bigger dance numbers and to the big power ballads. And For the Love of You in particular, just the way that her voice just sort of floats along with the melody, I think is really stunning in a similar way that it is with You Give Good Love. So for me, the reason I would put Whitney above Whitney Houston is just pound for pound, like they both have super high highs and some like
terrible lows.
The lows are lower on Whitney Houston than they are for me on Whitney.
Okay, here's the question.
That's fair.
Okay.
Because I will just say in agreement with that yes, like the duets on Whitney Houston like really hurt. Like they really bring it down. Jermaine Jackson has no place in this discography, honestly.
I agree.
But I also think that Whitney as a whole on the songs that aren't duets just doesn't bring as much to the table.
Okay, so here's my question then. Here's my biggest question, though. I agree with you on a lot of things about Whitney. I agree she is more confident. She doesn't need the fucking duet vocals there because she's Whitney. She's come into herself. She's been through the runs. She knows what she's doing. And so that confidence, that personality is a lot more front and center because there's personality on Whitney. Less so on Whitney Houston, which is perfectly manufactured, but also still manufactured to a degree. The question is, genuinely, from the heart, are the songs better?
Well,
you talk about the technique. Ignore the technique for a bit. Are the songs genuinely better?
I mean, this is really tough because we're getting to the songs that are like the fabric of Whitney. I have to say, I mean, I Want to Dance with Somebody is truly one of my favorite songs of all time.
One of the greatest singles of the 80s.
It's one of the best pop songs of all time.
Yeah. I think no one will contest that.
It is impeccable.
Also, the great thing about Walden as a writer-producer, he's one of the only motherfuckers, especially in early Whitney days, to get those synth horns to sound not terrible.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh, there's so many bad synth horns on this whole discography. Even when it was 2002, she was still using synth horns.
It's one of those songs. I did a cover of it once in a cabaret, and it is to date my most favorite thing I've ever sung.
Which one?
I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Oh yeah.
I had a friend of mine rearrange it, and it's just like.
Were you stripping?
It's just I was not stripping. That would not have been. That I don't think that was what was intended.
Yeah.
But it's like I think truly love it.
Just one more thing that I'll say about Whitney. Both of the first two albums are guilty of this, but Whitney's even more guilty is that when I'm just going through, like today, I was cramming, making sure I knew what each song sounded like so I could talk about them instead of going like, I remember I liked that one, but I have no idea why.
Yeah.
And I think 4 songs on this record start with a reverb-laden electric piano going do 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 do, like the same opening riff every time, regardless of what the melody of that ballad ended up being. It was like, oh, we're in the fucking formula right now. And I know it's not just Whitney Houston. That's what the late 80s and early 90s were. There were a lot of ballads that had the same 3 instruments as their backing track. But it really shows on the second half of this record.
Yeah.
So your number 3 is still Whitney Houston?
Yeah. Wait. So yes. I also just want to clarify one thing. I don't hate Whitney's vocal performance of Greatest Love of All. I just don't like that song. And I think that... Yeah, that's all I have to say. Sorry, Whitney.
So your number 3 is Whitney?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
What do you got, Evan?
Whitney Houston at number 3.
Of course. It's
okay.
You know what? It's alright.
Should we talk about The Bodyguard?
I mean, listen,
I think we have
I don't want to give away what number 1 is, but let's just talk about The Bodyguard real quick to see what's going on. Now, here's the thing. What is The Bodyguard? Is it, I mean, the thing is that, like, I feel like we could talk for days about...
Wait, you put Whitney Houston at number 3?
Oh, no. Yeah, that's what I said, right?
Oh, wait. I thought... Oh!
Oh, so you did side with Nick.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yay!
Oh.
Wow.
Both of us were... See, that's what happens when you name two albums the same fucking thing.
Also, I love how she has Whitney Houston, Whitney, and then just Whitney.
Yeah.
It's especially confusing because
Whitney is just Whitney.
Previously, you could have referred to 1987 as just Whitney.
Yeah.
But now you can't anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you say just Whitney
Dot.
Whitney ...
Yeah.
Janet dot.
Yeah.
Um.
Back to it. So, The Bodyguard.
The Bodyguard.
Here's the thing. So apparently it was Kevin Costner's idea to actually have the start of I Will Always Love You. And here's the thing. So we watched The Bodyguard this week.
Okay.
Number one surprise. It's not a bad movie.
I don't hate it.
Wow. Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
like. So the thing is, like, I mean, it came out the year I was born,
Which
so
makes me want to kill myself.
I've spent
but-
literally my whole life hearing about how bad of a movie it is.
Okay.
And how it was hugely successful because it was Whitney Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Not
it
so
was
much
terrible.
Kevin Costner. Yeah.
Although, fun fact, he was named the sexiest man alive that year.
Okay.
I'm sure because of
Did
this
they
movie.
but then it isn't the same publication that gave Blake Shelton Sexiest
Yeah,
Man
so
Alive?
who gives a shit?
Right,
But-
yeah, fuck that.
But still,
Sexiest Man Alive, the Blob from the X-Men.
But so we finally watched it this week, and I was like, I mean, I knew that I liked Kevin Costner, but Whitney was also not a bad actress.
Oh, not at
which
all.
Is
Yeah,
clearly why,
she's-
that's
I mean-
clearly why she went on to make 4
Yeah.
more movies.
Yeah.
But I
Including Sparkle.
and I even like the directing, the production quality. I was like, this is good.
I fucking
Script-
love
Oh.
Simon, the fucking publicist, played by Gary Kemp, the fucking lead singer and songwriter of Spandau Ballet, who did True. Ba 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 ba. I know my love is
Those aren't the words,
true.
but close enough.
But, like, whatever that one is. But, like, that fucking guy, because I'm looking at this performance where it's like, you look like some fucking evil Jude Law rap motherfucker, and I'm like, who is this guy? And it's like, the guy from Spandau Ballet? Are you kidding me? That's awesome! You actually had a career! That's crazy! Anyhow.
But so anyway, I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed this movie. I was really emotionally invested. And then there was the scene where her sister was, like, confessing to hiring the hitman, and
We
I was
need
like,
to talk about
what
this scene real
is
quick.
happening?
Okay, so like they're drinking, they're in the cabin, the power's been cut, the killer is around somewhere hunting them. He has to protect his, his asset. Is what's going on there. And then he pulls her aside and she's drinking heavily. What did you do? It's like, because she has everything. That's the thing. Like, and one of the things, that's fine, this thing. All right, I need a name. What's a name? And then she said, I don't know. I just went to a bar.
I was high.
And it's like, you went to a bar. I'm like, okay. And then it's just like, I don't remember the name. Oh, okay, let's get this straight. You went ahead, you got enough money together to pay a hitman. You took a briefcase of money full into a random bar,
Just
and we're
in some random bar, and you were asking around?
and you were stoned while you were doing all of this. Like, that was like one of
Sure.
the
That's how reality works. Whatever you say, scriptwriter.
Yeah.
So I'm so interested in the fact that you. So first of all, oh boy. Okay. The Bodyguard was. I have a long relationship with The Bodyguard because.
Is it a positive relationship?
Yeah,
It's a
sure, for the
complicated
most part.
relationship.
So it came out, obviously, in 1992, and I first discovered Whitney Houston in the summer of 1993 when all good things happened to me, because that's when I discovered Janet and Mariah and Tina Turner, and it's when whatever. So I became
It was your
obsessed.
big gay awakening.
It was my gay
awakening.
if you will.
Hashtag
yes,
All-Stars 3.
There we go. Yep.
Alright.
So anyway, I became obsessed with trying to see this movie, and so for years I begged because I was 7 when it came out. I was like, I kept begging my parents to let me see it because I was obsessed.
Get it to me on Laserdisc or Betamax.
And it it was an R-rated movie, so my parents weren't gonna let me see it.
Whitney says the word fuck twice.
Right. And so I finally got to see it.
Sex, what slut?
Right. I finally got to see it on my 10th birthday. And by the way, this movie is so... It has a place in my heart, but it is so devoid of, most things that would generally be deemed inappropriate for children. It has some cursing in it, but you don't really see much sex.
Yeah, it has sex, but it doesn't actually show the sex.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I loved it as a kid. I like the first time I finally got to see it, was like, oh my God, Whitney! Oh, she's falling up the stage! Oh no! Oh, I was losing my fucking mind. But I've seen it several times since then, and I don't think that it's a bad movie. I just think it's kind of boring. Like, it's kind of slow.
Yes.
And Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston have approximately zero chemistry, and that is Kevin Costner's fault. Whitney Houston shows up. She was not a trained actor. She
was on Silver Spoons and shit like that. She had acting experience.
So the one thing I will say about that is, I did say earlier it was well directed. I think it was well
directed, given the script.
What's the verb of this? Cinematographied.
Well shot.
Well shot. It was well shot.
She looks beautiful.
But when there's, because Kevin Costner is a good actor.
Yeah.
And so when there's a bad performance like that,
yeah,
that's the director's fault, in my humble opinion. And so, and I think part of it is that he's supposed to be resistant to her at first. So they're like, isn't chemistry? And I feel like a couple more takes of the director being like, Kevin, I need you to like be resistant, but like show a little in your face that you're still kind of into it, would have totally changed that movie. You're not, I agree with you.
What I think is interesting though about that is that Kevin Costner was a producer on this movie and was also at that point sort of notorious for taking over the editing process from his directors.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so there was an article in the LA Times around the time the movie was released that, they wanted to recut the movie, and they ended up cutting, I think, like 20 minutes out of it. And Kevin Costner was very much involved in that process, and there was this sort of, did Kevin Costner take over this movie and try and edit it as such? But apparently he was very actively, he produced it and also was very actively involved in the editing process. So in that sense, I'm kind of like, coming off of, so this was just after Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and which was just after Dances with Wolves, which was his big,
Oscar
critically
movie,
acclaimed moment. And so for me, I'm just like, so you were this involved in this movie and may or may not have taken over substantial parts of the editing process, and that's the performance that we came up with? You weren't involved in the dailies? You didn't watch that and say, we should go back and maybe reshoot some shit here? Because the reason I say that is because he just looks bored. And you're totally right. All I need to understand about his character in that movie is I need to see the decision that he makes to have sex with her, and also I would like to understand why he's attracted to her.
Because that's not explained in the movie.
Because it's it sort of just feels like she keeps flirting with him, and so he's like, well, I guess I'll put my dick in it.
Right, but the soundtrack,
I'm sorry, this is all mini-sode material.
Okay.
But
so that actually kind of ties in kind of well to bring it back. Is that then it makes so much more sense that Kevin Costner would have requested that the opening of I Will Always Love You be a cappella, and that request was honored.
And here's the thing about that, though. One thing about the movie I love is at one point they're dancing at a bar, and they play not the Dolly Parton version, but another country version of I Will Always Love You. And I'm like, that's really smart to give acknowledgement of the fact that this is a cover, that it is a standard, but also more the fact that...
Also give that much more contrast for how incredible her version is.
And even more to that, though, the thing is David Foster as a producer, and David Foster, the producer, he's done Schmaltz up the wazoo. He's probably most famous for...
everybody. Yeah.
He's most famous for also producing My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. He's a Schmaltz peddler. But he plays to it well. He knows how to... Because the thing about Schmaltz, what Schmaltz works, you don't open with... do-do-do-do-do. The thing is you build to it. Mm-hmm. And so the thing is that's why you start small with Whitney. You start with just the acapella, Kevin Costner's idea or not, that's a great idea. Build up, very light backing. Absolutely. Then you can bring in the cheesy rock guitars. You can bring in all that other stuff later. Especially when there's that break happens and then it's silent and then that kick drum, boom. Yep. And, and then it just kicks into that. He builds to that. And that's a great move that has there. But the thing about the Bodyguard soundtrack is it's not just that song.
Right.
It's the fact that because he also was a writer on I Have Nothing.
Yep.
Which is, that is that defiant ballad. That's the defiant moment that you want out of Greatest Love of All during the chorus. That's what comes out,
That's, okay, so that's, I was not raised in a household that respected 80s balladry. Just to put it simply. It was not something that I grew up on. So then, as I was discovering my own musical tastes in like my late teens and into my 20s, I realized that I had a real affinity for a ballad sung well and sold well. And like, I Have Nothing is in the running for my favorite Whitney Houston song. Like, there's especially in her studio discography, I challenge you to point out a better vocal performance.
I totally agree with you.
Like, she just fucking kills it. And that's the thing about this soundtrack specifically, is that even when she's getting into the like disco I'm Every Woman, which is also in my top 10, or the like gritty Janet Michael Queen of the Night, which is also in my top 10. Like,
she never gets harder than on Queen of the Night.
Every one of these songs is like in the best vocal performances of her career.
Mm-hmm.
Like, besides the quality of the songs themselves, like 1992 is when she's grown out of the like awkward building your voice of your early 20s. She's hit her mid-20s and she is fully stabilized. Like, there's so much power coming behind it. There's confidence of an already successful career. She's happy about like the script that she's about to shoot the movie for, and you just like, you hear so much joy and sadness and like anger all across, and it's only 6 songs.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I could do without like, Jesus Loves Me personally.
I mean,
like,
same.
Yeah.
Hence, Preacher's Wife at 6. But,
rub that and show
but,
his face.
okay, fine. So, 5 songs then.
Yeah.
In 5 songs, I mean,
we get these
are 5 songs that we're putting at number 1. Because it's just, like, it's absolutely stunning.
I mean, I agree with everything that you just said. With the exception of, I'm totally cool with Jesus Loves Me. I think that, like, it's a bit of a stretch for it to be
an actual song.
Also, for it to be on the album.
Yeah.
Also, how awkward is it that in the movie she's singing it as a duet with her sister, and then the next scene is her sister talking about how she hired a hitman to kill her.
Yeah.
While high, and you didn't know the name of the bar.
And also, the whole narrative of the sister is that she's super jealous of her, but it's like, someone clearly got the talent here, and it was not you. I'm sorry. Shout out to Michelle Lamar Richards. Who played the sister. I had to look that up because I think that she does a great job in the movie.
I do too.
She's great. She's stellar. That being said, I think that every Whitney song on The Bodyguard is outstanding. It is just impeccable. The years of roughly 1990 to 1992 are peak Whitney. You know, you don't... The later albums, you hear the strain of the Bodyguard tour and the drug use and everything else sort of fall into place and start the deterioration. But here, she is in her prime, and everything, all of those songs feel iconic to me.
I mean, they do. They legitimately do. Run to You?
Yeah. Run to You was the first Whitney Houston song that I ever heard, and I fell in love with her as a result. So it has a special place in my heart, but I agree.
I mean, that would do it.
I have nothing.
The funny thing is, like, out of the 5 songs on here, that's my, like, least favorite, but it's still iconic and, you know, one of my favorite Whitney songs.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so hard because this is also part of why I wanted to only count her input on it, is because when you aren't counting the crap made by other people, it just doesn't stand up to... Or, like, it blows every one of her other
Sorry, are
albums
you
out of the
saying
water.
that the cover of What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding by, let me check this, Curtis Stigers doesn't live up to the rest of Whitney's promise?
I mean, as a huge Aaron Neville fan, I just think
oh my
God.
It's so hard to hear. It's so hard to listen to.
Yeah. So it's what's so for the listeners. So you get Jesus Loves Me. You get 6 songs, right, of all Whitney, all iconic vocals, and then number 7 is Even If My Heart Would Break, which is Kenny G and Aaron Neville, which is like.
This is another moment where I'm like men getting by on mediocrity.
Yeah.
I'm like getting put on a fucking Whitney Houston album, and I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yes.
You should have known what you were doing and said, no thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm the right fit for this because I have no fucking talent and you can't put me on a Whitney Houston album.
Yeah.
So that being said,
That's how I feel about that.
we've gone for almost 2 hours ranking 8 fucking albums.
Ow!
Because
We
we
took
are
52
bad
minutes
at
to
our
talk about these
jobs.
3 albums.
We should not get promotions. I'm gonna
blame myself because I just.
We just had so much.
I gotta throw it in the context. I just gotta throw it in, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the context is very important.
Yeah, which we didn't have going. That's why this research week was so pivotal, because we were just supposed to do it as songs, and like, this fucking sucks. And then the more you get into it, the more it gets into your brain, and especially when you fill it with biography, because a lot of people don't have biography. It's just Whitney. And like, I showed Taran a Mad TV sketch this day of like a double disc album of Whitney Ruins the Classics.
Oh yeah,
You
which
know.
is from 2000.
Yeah.
And in 2000, that was funny and relevant. But in hindsight, it's like, this is not okay.
It's not cool that's
It's really not okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was the year when all the shit started really hitting the fan for her in a public way. At least.
Yeah, but at least she can take solace in the fact that when it comes to a podcast that started in 2016, her top 3 albums were ranked by the Chartographers as number 3, Whitney Houston, number 2, Whitney, and the number 1 Whitney Houston thing of all time was the Prince of Egypt soundtrack featuring... no, I'm kidding. It's The Bodyguard. We all know it's The Bodyguard. And guys, listen... Obviously, the fact we even had to break it into 2 parts should indicate that we've had a great time talking about this. Mm-hmm. There's a whole fucking happy hour minisode after this, because we're all a little bit lit and there's a lot more to say. We're gonna get into it. Can you imagine the debate of worst Whitney song? It's gonna be a thing. So get ready for it. Get ready for it. In the meantime, though, legitimately, Nick. Here's the thing. You being on the Janet episode was an iconic moment and a breakthrough for a podcast. But you were meant to be here for this one.
Oh,
you really
thank you.
were, truly. Like, I don't want to say it's your life achievement, but it feels like it's close.
I mean, honestly, like in many ways, my whole life has led up to the recording of the Janet podcast and this one now. So like,
so you can die now.
yeah,
so,
like bye. I'm good.
In the meantime, though, it's like Tinkerbell. The only way to bring Nick Shoda back to life is if you leave a review on our iTunes, because the more stars you put on there, the more Nick will be brought back to life. So please, let's give him superpowers, more stars. Also, find us on iTunes and Facebook and Twitter, and send us an email, thechartographers@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We probably won't respond unless it's cool. In the meantime, though, we have a happy hour mini-sode right after this, so please keep on listening. You know that we'll be. This is getting out of control. Thank you so much, and goodbye.
Heat of the moment, I thought that I could myself.
Hey, this is Kyle Hawk from It's All Dead, a podcast about the music we love and why we love it. Our show is a free-flowing conversation featuring a rotating cast of guests, including musicians, music journalists, and music enthusiasts, sharing how the music is still alive and well. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app, and then come visit us at itsalldead.com.